This video explores the origins and developments of the Crusades, which shaped medieval Europe and the Middle East. I'll explain how religious, political, and economic factors came together to trigger these massive military expeditions and what far-reaching consequences they had for history. The Crusades began in the 11th century when the Holy Land was under Muslim control. Christian pilgrims had difficulty visiting Jerusalem safely. Pope Urban II called for the First Crusade in 1095 to reclaim the Holy Land. Many people joined for religious or economic reasons. In the Middle Ages, Christians and Muslims were often in conflict. The Byzantine Empire lost territory to the Muslim Seljuks. The Byzantine Emperor asked the West for help. These tensions led the Pope to see the Crusades as a solution. Many Europeans also sought glory and wealth. In 1095, Pope Urban II gave a speech in Clermont. He urged Christians to free Jerusalem from the Muslims. He promised forgiveness of sins to those who fought. Many commoners and knights joined the cause. The First Crusade began in 1096. Before the official crusade, many peasants and common people set out. This so-called People's Crusade was poorly organized. Most participants had no military training. They were easily defeated by the Seljuks along the way. Few survived the journey. The First Crusade, 1096 to 1099, was the only truly successful crusade. Knights and soldiers from Europe captured Jerusalem in 1099. They founded Christian kingdoms like the Kingdom of Jerusalem. But the conquest was very brutal. Many Muslims and Jews were killed. The Crusader states were Christian territories in the Holy Land. Europeans lived there alongside Muslims and Jews. There was trade and exchange, but also tension. The Crusaders had to constantly defend their lands. Life was insecure but culturally diverse. The Second Crusade, 1147–1149, began after Muslims recaptured the city of Edessa. European kings like Louis VII of France led armies. However, the crusade was a complete failure. Christians lost many soldiers and achieved nothing. It weakened the Crusader states. Saladin, a Muslim leader, became very powerful in the 12th century. He united the Muslims in the Middle East. In 1187, he recaptured Jerusalem. His victories made him a legend. Christians were shocked and sought revenge. The Third Crusade, 1189 to 1192, was led by famous kings like Richard the Lionheart. The goal was to recapture Jerusalem. The Crusaders had some successes, but Jerusalem remained under Muslim control. In the end, Richard made a truce with Saladin. Pilgrims were allowed to visit Jerusalem again. In 1212, thousands of children from Europe set out to free Jerusalem. They believed God would help them, but the journey was a disaster. Many children died or were enslaved. This crusade showed how desperate people had become. The Fourth Crusade, 1202 to 1204, was a major failure. The Crusaders lacked funds and attacked the Christian city of Constantinople. They looted the city and weakened the Byzantine Empire. Jerusalem wasn't even reached. Many Christians were outraged. The looting of Constantinople weakened Christians in the East. The Byzantine Empire lost power. Tensions between Catholic and Orthodox Christians increased. The Fourth Crusade showed how the original goals were lost. It often became just about power and money. The Fifth Crusade, 1217 to 1221, targeted Egypt, a major Muslim center. The Crusaders briefly captured the city of Damietta, but poor planning led to its loss. The crusade brought no lasting success. Christians were disappointed. The Sixth Crusade, 1228 to 1229, was unusual because it was peaceful. Emperor Frederick II negotiated with the Muslim Sultan. Jerusalem was handed over to the Christians for 10 years. Many crusaders were pleased, but the Pope criticized Frederick. The peace did not last. The Seventh Crusade, 1248 to 1254, was led by King Louis IX of France. He attacked Egypt again, but was captured. Louis had to pay a large ransom. The crusade was a failure. The Crusader states became even weaker. In 1244, Muslims permanently recaptured Jerusalem. The Crusader states kept losing territory. Christians didn't have enough soldiers to defend themselves. Many Europeans lost faith in the Crusades. Defeats became more frequent. The final Crusades, like the Eighth, 1270, were poorly organized. Louis IX died during a crusade in Tunisia. The Crusader states fell one by one. In 1291, Acre, the last major fortress, was taken by Muslims. This marked the end of the Crusades in the Holy Land. The Crusades brought Europe and the Middle East closer. Traders exchanged goods like spices and silk. Europeans learned new skills, such as better map-making. The exchange was often more peaceful than the wars. Still, mistrust remained between Christians and Muslims. The Crusades influenced European culture. Knightly tales and legends became popular. Muslims brought knowledge in math and medicine to Europe. But prejudices against Muslims also increased. The Crusades left a mixed legacy. The Crusades strengthened the Church's power in Europe. At the same time, defeats led to doubts about the papacy. Some Christians wondered why God didn't support the Crusades. Faith in holy wars declined. Other religions faced increased hostility. The Crusades were expensive but boosted trade. Italian cities like Venice got rich transporting crusaders. Europeans discovered new goods and markets, but many knights lost their property. The Crusades changed Europe's economy. The Byzantine Empire suffered greatly from the Crusades. The sack of Constantinople in the Fourth Crusade was a major blow. The empire weakened and later fell to the Ottomans. The Crusades deepened the split between Eastern and Western Christianity. This had long-term effects. After the Crusades, the Ottomans grew more powerful. They conquered the weakened Byzantine Empire in 1453. The Crusades had strengthened Muslims in the East. Europe now faced new challenges. The Ottomans became a major threat. The Crusades changed power structures in Europe. Kings grew stronger by leading armies. The influence of the nobility sometimes declined. At the same time, the Church's power grew, but so did criticism. The Crusades shaped medieval politics. The Crusades led to new technologies in Europe. Europeans learned better shipbuilding and navigation. Castles were built stronger to resist attacks. Weapons like crossbows were improved. These advances later helped Europe. The Crusades changed society. Many peasants and knights left their villages to fight. Some never returned, weakening communities. Women often had to manage on their own. The Crusades disrupted the rigid medieval society. Through the Crusades, European knowledge encountered Muslim science. Muslims had advanced in math, astronomy, and medicine. Europeans translated Arabic books into Latin. This helped push science forward in Europe. Universities were founded during this period. The Crusades left behind distrust between Christians and Muslims. Both sides developed prejudices that lasted centuries. Wars were often justified by religion, but there were also peaceful times of exchange. The tensions still shape history today. The Crusades are still present in stories and films. Some view the Crusaders as heroes, others as conquerors. In the Muslim world, they are often seen negatively. The Crusades symbolize conflict and misunderstanding. Their history is constantly retold. The Crusades show how religion and power can cause conflict. They remind us of the importance of dialogue. Today, many try to avoid the mistakes of the past. The history of the Crusades teaches us tolerance. It is part of our shared history.